Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
Yay!
Okay, cool. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay, well, welcome. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and start just by introducing yourself. What do you do?
Sure. My name is Alex. I'm a sex therapist and content creator, writer, and I also do some intimacy coordination for TV and film, so helping to choreograph sex scenes.
Okay.
And yeah, I run like a private practice where I see individuals and couples and we discuss all things to do with sex, sexuality, and relationships.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, first, I'm so curious to know, how did you get into it?
That's a great question. I always knew I wanted to study psychology. I was always fascinated by psychology, but when I was doing it, I was like, wow, this is dry as fuck. Like, it was so boring.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was interesting, but it was a lot of just theory by like old white guys, you know what I mean? And I was
wow.
like, okay, like, surely there's more to this. And then I kind of did some research and came across like a subgenre of mental health worker, which is a sex therapist.
Interesting.
And yeah, it was like on the little sidebar, I was like, here are all the other random kind of specialties, I guess. I was like, whoa, what's a sex therapist? So I clicked on it and was like, oh my God, like that sounds like my dream job, is to just talk about sex and relationships with people.
Oh, interesting.
I felt like that's what I did a lot of in my personal life anyway,
Okay.
and, you know, enjoyed talking about, found it easy to talk about as well.
Mhm.
And so I went on to do a master's degree where I wrote research, and I specifically looked at women's sexual function in that research.
Okay.
And then I went on to do another postgraduate degree in sexology, so the study of human sexuality. And that's how I kind of landed in this space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like you were just like in college and you were like, this is an option, I want to go for it.
Yeah, because I guess like it's kind of like being a doctor where you're like, what do I want to specialize in, right?
see.
Whereas in
Okay.
like mental health, you can become like a general mental health counselor or therapist or psychologist, but often you have like a specialty that you're drawn to.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how it panned out.
Oh my God, how
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So, like, what do you primarily do? Do you have people who come in that are like, I have the sex problem, or is it more like, you know, you're more like a therapist that just has like a specialty, and so
So I guess the way that private practice works is that I specialize in sex and relationships. So
Okay.
I've done training as like a couples counselor as well.
Oh, okay.
But I'm also trained as a body image therapist because my research in sexual function started to stray down the path of like body image is a big factor.
Okay.
And so when I finished that research, I was like, well, I should get trained. Like, if the research is telling me if someone presents with like sexual function concerns, whether that's around desire, orgasm, like pain, they likely have body image concerns too. That's what the research was telling me. And so I was like, well, I should get trained in body image.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And I also worked, I'm also a trained trauma therapist. So I do the EMDR.
Okay,
trauma
got it.
therapy. So it really depends on what the client's looking for in private practice, but it is like traditional talk therapy.
Okay.
I don't do any like touch or anything. Those are sexological body workers who might do touch-based like somatic therapy, but this is all just talk therapy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many more questions.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are like some of the like most interesting things you've come across?
So I would say there's a difference between the most common and the most interesting.
Okay.
The most common, just so people know, is desire. Everyone comes in being like, I've lost my desire for sex, or something's happened. I feel like I'm broken. Yeah, it's super common. And I always tell people, like, you're not broken. It's a really common thing that affects people, especially throughout the duration of your sexual career, is what I like to call it.
Okay.
You're going to experience challenges with sexual function. It's just like a thing that happens as a human being. Whether it's like, oh, I'm really in my head, I can't come. Oh, I'm like feeling really disconnected or stressed or overwhelmed, I'm losing desire for sex, or I'm aging and I'm no longer able to like maintain erections. Like, those are all really common human experiences. I would say the most interesting things I've come across are, I found financial domination. Like a client came in really struggling because he was in a loop and habit of spending money on girls.
Okay.
But
I
he
thought so.
was like, oh, I'm like burning through my savings. And then it was also really, because it wasn't even like sexually explicit material. He just wanted to like connect with girls he would never otherwise connect with, just asking for like a selfie, right? And it's, to me, understanding, I don't know, maybe you have your own thoughts on this, but like it was the psychological process of like, oh, this woman who I clearly admire,
Yeah.
if I can like connect with her, that gives me like a boost kind of thing. I think that was his thinking.
Okay.
I don't know. And so he was in this like loop though of like spending, like burning his life savings, like just asking for photos. And so he came to therapy, but he refused to do like face-to-face or like video call therapy, which is what I usually do, is like online. And he wanted to just do strictly like text therapy, which was bizarre. Yeah. And I was like, oh, is this because I'm like a young woman who you find attractive? And so I had to kind of call it out and be like, wait, is this financial domination? Like, it got really meta. I was like, hold on. I was like, wait, are you just coming to therapy because you want to talk to me? Like, we had to kind of establish it. I was like, how do we keep this like, because you've also sought me out specifically. Like, there are male sex therapists out there. Like,
that's so
you know what I mean? So that was just like a very interesting, I think for me, kind of meta experience where I was like, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Other than that, my favorite is, I love a gay couple. I just love a gay couple. They just keep me on my toes every time. Gay guy couples will come in and they just tell me the craziest stories. I just love them. They make fun of my outfits. Like, they literally be like, "You're wearing that today?" And I'm like, "Wow, okay, bitch." Like, they're starting off like that.
Oh my gosh.
And then like the lesbian couples will be like, in a first session, will be like, "Alex, what's your star sign?" And I'm like, oh my God. I just love it. And because I'm like bi, I just love working with queer couples. So I always find that like fun and interesting. But yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So interesting. Yeah. You know, it's funny. We've had a couple of like Playboy girls and like OnlyFans girls on here, and I do Playboy as well. And I've noticed there is a lot. I mean, it's sometimes crazy how much money people will drop in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, I just talk, you know, like I'll dance and stuff, but like I don't do like, you know, some girls in that scene do, you know, like sex, they do masturbation, they do all of that. I don't, and I still make money. And it's crazy how much money people will drop in a heartbeat. And I've had people like actually text me and be like, I cannot be on this site and I cannot come to your lives because I will spend money on you every time. And I have to save for a trip. So I'm just letting you know I'm going to be MIA for a while. And I'll be like, it's cool.
And those are like healthy financial boundaries, right?
Definitely.
Like there's nothing wrong with spending money on like hot, clever, fun, interesting women.
Yeah.
That you want to, like, it's entertainment.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
But like, I do think that this particular client didn't have that like healthy boundary to be like, oh, I need to pull back for a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like fascinating though.
Interesting. I'm actually surprised that's not more common.
I think it is really common.
Yeah, I would imagine just from like seeing myself online how much men spend sometimes. It's like, sometimes I'm like, oh, this guy must be ballin'. And I'll be like, what do you do? And he'll be like, oh yeah, I work at a gas station. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think people are willing to put a lot of money toward it. And I mean, that's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
It's an industry for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, so many people want to put money into it.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, and that's the interesting thing, is it goes to show there's this real desire for human intimacy, like not just sex either. Sometimes just talking.
Literally.
Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I learned in this industry, is that personality sells, and you know, sometimes just making a connection, and not even like, you know, some people I know do like the whole like girlfriend or boyfriend experience. Mine is just talking, and it's a very clear, like, just kind of like, you know, your hot friend. Like,
Totally.
And sometimes that's all they want. That's all they want to connect with. And so it's really fascinating to me. And it shows there's this really big gap for people, and like how hard it can be sometimes to find that connection.
Absolutely.
Which is, kind of a bummer. So
it is kind of a bummer, but I also think the men who might criticize that experience of being like, why should I have to pay for intimacy? Well, you are benefiting from a patriarchal society, so like take it up with your brothers. You know what I mean? Like,
seriously.
You can't blame women for the fact that you're all feeling lonely and wanting intimate connection, even if it is like kind of platonic or whatever. It's like a product literally of a patriarchal society.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's like we had our last guy who was on here said, it really isn't fair. We've subjected women to work in a man's world.
Mm-hmm.
This is through and through a man's world.
Mm-hmm.
And we are here living by their rules completely. We don't have protections for what our bodies go through on a monthly basis.
Literally.
Even like when we get pregnant, sometimes even if we choose to get pregnant, we don't always, like, all these different things are not subservient to women.
Yeah.
And it's insane, but we have to live by it. So it's like you said, like, you don't have to pay for it, but it's there if you want it. And the thing that blows my mind is how much judgment women get for that service. And yet it's the oldest industry. I think it's a necessary industry. Like, and I'm talking all the way back to like prostitution and stuff. I genuinely believe that if we didn't have sex work, there'd be a lot more violence in the world.
Yeah, I actually agree with that a lot. I have quite a few sex worker clients that see me, and a lot of them work with, in Australia, I'm not sure how it works here, but we have like a disability pension.
Okay.
So if people have disabilities, they get like a pension paid out to them because they can't work or whatever. And that they were trying to include in the pension rebates on accessing sex workers, because a lot of disabled clients couldn't date normally. They couldn't, even they had like physical needs that they needed a professional to like help them with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did learn about that as well when I was studying my sexology degree. But it's such an important, like, sex work. People think like sex work is just women trying to like make money. It's like, no, like it is so necessary to even disabled clients who need a professional to help them have like an intimate experience.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, even like, I think even sometimes it's like men just learning how to speak to women. Like, I know for me, I always forget because we live in Hollywood and, being in the modeling industry, you're always meeting beautiful people. You're kind of used to attractive men and women, and it's just easy. It's almost too easy to talk to people and to connect with people. And but the reality is it's not that easy for a lot of people. And some people really struggle with connecting with people, and that's kind of the beautiful thing about some of these paid sites, or like, and I have to ask, with the client, when you brought up, was he just coming to talk to you because you were a woman, or was it because
he was like, if we do video call, I'm worried it'll like stray into that dynamic. Okay. So can we just text so that I don't have to like look at you essentially? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Which was great for me because I'd literally be like sitting in bed, like with my coffee, just going, yeah, like this is great. I loved it. Like my dog next to me, like it worked out perfectly for me. So,
how funny.
And I wanted him to get the support he needed.
Yeah.
But I did make a point of being like, go see a guy therapist.
Yeah.
Like, you're really putting yourself at risk by seeking out like someone you literally find attractive.
Yeah.
So anyway, that went on for maybe like a year. And he did make a lot of improvements. So I think he genuinely was there for like the therapeutic benefits.
That's good. Yeah. Maybe it was like more like easier for him to open up to a woman, at least to start, or something.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe he just feels less threatened by women, or especially like women in this space of like sex and relationships. I think a lot of people approach me because they feel like I'm quite open, which I am. And I think as well for a lot of men, when there's shame around their sexualities or fetishes or kinks or anything like that, they're often way more fearful of how other men will judge them.
Yeah,
Do you
that
know what
makes
I mean?
a lot of sense. Definitely. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, have you seen Friends by any chance?
Yeah.
Have you seen the episode? It's the Star Wars episode.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
The Princess Leia fantasy.
Yes. And it's so funny because it's so true. As women, we talk about everything. Like, we don't care. We will talk about everything that goes on in the bedroom.
Literally.
Things we've learned, things we didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, embarrassing things. And men, they don't have that support.
No, they don't.
And it's like, I mean, just kind of like in the episode, like, I think it's kind of a bummer they don't have that, you know? It's just different.
Like but again, I think comes back to that idea of like you've created a patriarchal system that tells men they can't be vulnerable, they can't be like soft and gentle and even just like emotional. That to be so is to be feminine, and that feminine things are like bad and like make you weak, which is, you know, to like villainize femininity is so ironic because then they're so drawn to it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it also kind of fails to recognize that we all have like a sense of masculinity and femininity about us. Do you know what I mean? It's so
true.
But I just think that like the inability to connect because of the fear of being seen as emotional has left men to do what I call like side-by-side connecting, opposed to women which do face-to-face connecting.
Interesting.
So like even here, we sit here face-to-face and we talk. We could probably do this for hours, you know? But men, generally speaking, prefer side-by-side connection, which involves like focusing on a third thing. So they'll play a sport, or they'll like watch a game, or they'll cook like over a barbecue or something. Like that's really stereotypical examples, but like you get the idea. Of like to sit face to face with a man, especially a man like you don't maybe know that well. He's not going to open up.
No,
he's clamming up for sure. Like I think, and I'm talking more like the general, like kind of most like sort of common guy experience. Especially if they haven't like gone to therapy or anything. It's a really hard experience.
You know? I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it's so true. As women, like, we just met and you're here, and like, or like I've gone to the sauna and like, you know, 15 minutes later, like me and a girl have shared our whole life stories, you know, and like our current struggles or whatever.
Totally.
Like, it's so easy for us as women to just talk and connect. And for men, it's not the same experience.
No.
And it, you know, what's really fascinating is I always say that when I was young, I was like an ugly kid, you know, and then like ended up becoming like a Playboy model. And it's interesting because I've noticed in my past, my connections that were based off of me being a hot girl there was just nothing there. Whereas like the ones where it was very like emotional and intimate, and where like I was like a safe space for these men, those were the deep connections that really became relationships, you know? And so it's very fascinating as being like a sexualized woman, I guess. You know, I think there's this, the whole concept around being a sexual woman is very fascinating because you're desired by everyone, and yet like most people don't want to connect with you. Most men don't want to connect with you because they get intimidated, you know. And it's always been like when I meet somebody as myself, not like as, you know, the image. The image is very overwhelming to men.
Right.
So it's very interesting to me how like what men think they want is not always what they actually want, or sometimes what men actually want is not really what they think they want either. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think it's like, it kind of goes back to like that core idea that men will pay for the attention and connection of women they perceive to hold more power and social status than they do, right? Like, I think in a patriarchal structure and society, men hold the privilege of like power, even like things like financially, which is obviously being challenged now thanks to feminism. But, you know, in Victorian era, you saw women being completely helpless. The only power they had was to cater to the male gaze, marry well, and through him access power in society of like, oh, through his finances, through his like connections, like even just the safety of like having a husband. And so that still persists in society of women not having the same level of privilege. And I think at times men still kind of view women as like, oh, you only want me for one thing, which is my money. And I'm like, so sorry, I forget. I can't swear. I was gonna say cunt. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
And I feel like men will kind of be like, you only want me for one thing, it's my money. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I make my own money.
Yeah.
Also, like, what money?
Yeah.
Like, show me. It's always the broke boys being like, women only want, like, they're just gold diggers. And I'm like, okay, like,
what am I digging for here?
Yeah, like we're not digging very far, buddy. Like, it's not even about that, but I think for men to like reduce women down to they only want financial security, it's like, yeah, is that so bad?
Yeah.
So like I create that for myself now because like, have you seen the state of the economy? Like you need, like my favorite joke at the moment is that like in order for me to buy a house, it's like I'm gonna have to infiltrate like a polyamorous relationship and acquire their assets. Like I don't need a man. I need like a man and a woman at this point. Jesus.
Yeah. Especially in this city.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I just think like the connections that you build with people, you know, they're paying for a kind of intimacy, but I appreciate that for you, it's also like they kind of keep it at arm's length, because I also think, generally speaking, those men don't feel like they're worthy of a connection with a woman like you. Like I do think deep down a lot of men are quite insecure.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And so that's why there's that like, oh, I want to connect but only on my terms. It's like a protective strategy.
Definitely. I've seen a lot of that throughout my time. Yeah, I don't know if I'd mentioned this yet, but some years ago, like, I don't know, 3-5 years ago or something, there was one year I had, and that was when my career was like starting to do really well. You know, I had gotten like my first circus show. I was really starting to like gain a lot of traction on social media. I was getting a lot of opportunities. And I remember that year I had 7 men tell me that they loved me.
Whoa.
But they couldn't commit to me because of my work. And I was like, wow. Like,
wait, is this like work or personal life?
No, because I was a burlesque dancer.
Oh, so this was just like customers that would come through?
No, like people I was like seeing.
Oh no, it's like
dating.
In your personal life,
in my
dating.
Oh yeah.
Right. Oh
yeah. No, God. I never crossed the line in work.
No. I just thought like maybe okay. So you're dating people, and they say I love you, but I can't be with you because of your work.
Yes.
Fucking stanky ass losers.
7 in
shaming,
1 year.
That is fucked.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, and it was something I really struggled with at the start of my career.
Honey.
Yeah, because before, you know, I was a missionary, and so I was very religious, very Christian, and I was married. You know,
right.
But after my divorce, like, I went into survival mode and kind of like unleashed this alter ego, because I had a very tragic divorce too. So I, you know, became a burlesque dancer, and I got really good really fast because I pulled from my trauma to create my art, and it was solid. And the interesting thing is the men that I was dating at the time, you know, I just moved to Hollywood, came in fresh, like this new burlesque dancer, and I was dating very impressive, like worldly impressive men, you know, like people I had seen on TV growing up, like people just like very attractive, huge followings. And these were the men that were too insecure. And it like blew my mind.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? Is that men who are deeply insecure like that are always drawn to strong, ambitious, intelligent, like hot, funny, capable women.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they want to like claim it. and then they become intimidated by it, so they want you to minimize it because it threatens their ego. So it's like, oh, like I love you, like you're so smart and ambitious and like talented. And then it's like once you're together, they're like, actually, could you like tone it down a bit? And you're like, you know what? Fuck you. It's like one of the most insidious and sexist things I think happens when you date men, especially insecure men. It's just that sense of like, I need, you know, trying to make you smaller, which is such a horrible experience when you love and trust someone. You know?
Definitely.
And it's such mixed messages as well to be like, I love you, but your job. And it's like, wait, but this is like where I draw meaning and like what I enjoy doing. Like,
and the thing that drew you to me in the first place. Literally. That's always what fascinated me. It was like, this was what made you pursue me.
Yeah, it's really hard. And a lot of my sex worker clients have come to therapy because they've been like, I just got this new boyfriend or girlfriend, and they're not like, they're struggling to adjust to the work that I do. And if I wasn't like a therapist in that moment, I'd be like, leave them. I'd just be like, leave.
I mean,
you deserve someone who goes, yeah, I get it. This is a job. Like, this isn't also like one of the best situations I would say was when a sex worker came and she was like, my boyfriend's struggling, but he recognized it straight away. He's booked in with a therapist. He said that like he knows it's not about me and my job. It's about his own beliefs and attitudes around it. And like she was doing, she was dancing, but she was also doing brothel work. So like I think a lot of men, again, have these like this sense of, oh, you're fucking other people, like that means you love me less kind of thing. And it's like, if men like that came to therapy, we often talk about like, what does sex represent for you? Because like if having sex with someone means you are loving them and committing to them every time, like then you can see how if you're dating a sex worker, that becomes like a complicated situation. So in this situation, this guy, I think, handled it really well because he took the onus. He was like, it's on me. Like, my reaction isn't okay. You should be able to go do your job. And we should be able to have a relationship.
Interesting.
So that to me was like a really good example of a man just like accountability, like pulling his little socks up and going off to therapy we go, you know?
I mean, that's really respectable, honestly. That's so interesting. I had a thought and it was like so good and I forgot it. I hate when that happens.
Take your time. I'm having a sip of coffee.
Oh my God. Okay. We were just talking about men taking ownership. Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say. I brought this up on a different episode. Something that I find is really fascinating is like, because of my time in the modeling world, I've been close to the porn industry. I've never been in it though, but I've had friends who have been in it, or like there's one time like we were heading to a party and they're like, okay, just meet us here first and then we'll go. And I went to meet them at the place and they like had a full production going on and like, two girls and like the guy, like they're basically filming like a whole porno. I was like,
it was happening.
Okay, like I'm just gonna chill in this corner and wait till we go to this party.
Just going
like, I guess I'm watching this or not. Like,
that's so funny.
I could hide in the bathroom. I don't know. I'm just here though. And I had no idea that's what they were doing either. I just walked in and was like, oh, hi.
Hi guys.
Cool. Okay. But something, and then I recently I was in a couple movies and it was really fascinating to me seeing the similarities between, porn and movies. And it's interesting because it's not that different, like at least the space you're going into in your mind. Not all the time, I know there's like, well, I don't know. Like I haven't been on that many porn sets, but I do think, there is like for example, I was supposed to kiss somebody in this movie that I did. And I was like really stressed about it.
Did you have an intimacy coordinator?
For that one, no, we didn't. It was a low budget.
Yeah, that happens. But like that's the kind of thing that it's like it can be really stressful.
It can be. Yeah. I've been on other movies where there have been, and it was so nice. You know, it was very well done. This one was still great though. You know, I'd already worked with the company.
Yeah.
And the co-star I had, he was fantastic.
Wonderful.
Like, because I was really nervous about it. It was a really heavy scene too. I have to be careful how much I say because the movie's not out yet.
Sure.
But I was so nervous about the scene because I had to dig into some really deep, heavy stuff for it. And, you know, I met the guy the day of, but he's actually like a pretty, like a fairly well-known actor.
Okay.
And so I was really nervous, and it was so interesting. And he's married too, but it was just so interesting to me of being like, we're here to do a job, you know, like it still is a job.
100%.
And the mindset that you're in for like a porno or like a movie are not that different.
No.
But the way that people view it, like the way people look at a porn star versus how they look at a movie star, completely different.
And even how they engage with porn versus how you engage with a movie. You go see Mission Impossible, you don't think, I'm going to go jump out of a helicopter.
Yeah.
I could do that. People watch porn and go, I could do that. And it's like, no, you actually maybe couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people forget that like porn stars are professionals who like are working on a production. Like it is not real life. That is not how sex works. It's not how even bodies function.
Yeah.
One of the most common concerns that comes up in sex therapy is like porn dependence.
Okay.
And a lot of like men experience performance anxiety because they think they should be erect all the time.
Oh my God.
And they're like, well, that's what happens in porn. And I'm like, yeah. And like, is porn real?
Yep.
No. Like it's literally like you watching an action movie and being like, I'm going to go like
jump out of the
I can do that. It's like, no, you actually can't because it's not real.
Yeah.
Like, and so I feel like a lot of the time the way that porn kind of influences a lot of men's perspective of their own sexual function is that they have to like always be on kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good point though as well of like people often look at porn stars and then like shame them for the work that they do.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas like you don't shame actors, you put them on a pedestal and they're amazing. And then ironically,
crazy.
It's like the porn industry is massive. So it's like, we don't actually hate them, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
You really, really enjoy that they do their jobs.
Yeah. Well, and it's usually the people hating on it that enjoy it the most.
Yeah, it's like,
which is wild.
It's like the people who are the most homophobic. I'm like, you're gay.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, totally.
Like, where does that come from? You don't hate something that much unless it's a little bit inside of you.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun. But like, I feel like it's the same thing. People who like really heavily shame sex workers, porn stars, the whole industry. I'm like, I would bet good money that you are spending a lot of money on this behind the scenes.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I just feel like people love to criticize sex workers or porn stars. And it's like you put your body out there and it's like not yours. I don't know. There's all this like shaming. And I go, yeah. And so do like people who join the military.
Yeah.
Like literally they put their bodies on the line every day. What's the difference?
Yeah. It's
like, literally
crazy.
What is the difference? You sign up to like put your body on the line. Except military I would say is like way worse, but like they're not coming as much. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe they are.
Well, it's possible.
But I just feel like it's, you know, that so much of the criticism around sex work is embedded within shaming of sexuality. Where like we don't shame men and women for signing up to the Navy and military. And it's the same concept. Like your body is the tool that you use. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, it's wild for sure. And that was like a big reason why I wanted to start this podcast was, you know, big idol of mine, of course, is Marilyn Monroe. And the more I learned about her life, I was like, this is so tragic.
Yeah.
Like this is so sad how her life has been. And yet she's the most iconic woman maybe in the world, you know. Well, Beyonce's done pretty well. Yeah. But like, you know, you just walk down Hollywood and you see her face everywhere. Yeah. And it's crazy because she was so disrespected by men time and time again. Yeah. And it's crazy. So it's like, is that what it takes to be a successful woman? You have to be put down by men? It shouldn't be like that. And like, it has to stop, in my opinion. It has to stop. There has to be an end to it.
Yeah.
But as of right now, there's not, you know?
No, I know. It's so
very
frustrating.
sad. Yeah.
But yeah, I think like Marilyn's a perfect example of how men are like, oh, I want to like connect with a woman. I want to observe her. I want to objectify her, but I want to do it on my terms. I don't want her to be a person with needs and feelings and flaws. And even like thoughts of her own.
Yeah.
Like it's so deeply sexist. And I think that's also where like, you know, criticism of like any sex worker who has like public profiles and they speak out about things, and it's like, if they ever receive pushback, it's like, yeah, because it's a deeply sexist response to be like, oh, just like, you know, I don't know. It's like the same. It's like the get back in the kitchen kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Of like
it's true.
minimizing people who like really a lot of, generally speaking, men are so desperate to connect with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's wild.
It is wild, but I also like that there's like been a huge turn in like the sex work industry in general. I think maybe I don't know if you maybe feel it, but like the past maybe 10, 15 years with things like, you know, ethical porn sets and like even just like women being able to like take more ownership over their content with things like OnlyFans or like monetizing their content through different platforms. That means their money is just going kind of like more so into their pocket. I just think like it's taking a nice turn.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I've been less in the scene, so I don't fully know as much right now. Fair. But I do know like something, I guess like on a much smaller level of that, something that we've put into practice in our shows is like, you know, we have one backstage for everybody. And, you know, we have like male singers or male magicians or whatever. And something that we've integrated both like in my shows here or like even in my shows in Australia is that we're all comfortable with our bodies. Like we're up there in tiny thongs spinning around. Like we're not very like, oh no, don't look at me, you know? Yeah. But we have integrated a rule of like, when we're changing, men can't be in here. You know, men have to announce when they're coming upstairs. Like, you know, men have to wait till we finish changing. And it's not so much about like, we're like shy, we don't really care, but it's just holding that principle, holding that line. Yeah. And it's important, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's good to hear though that there's been those changes going on because it is important, you know? I think that's why like Amsterdam, for example, you know, they have the red light district and it's like legal. All of that stuff is legal. But because it's legal, it sounds like there's more rights in place for women in that world. Whereas like when it's illegal, you know, you're doing it under.
That's why people are at risk for sure.
Yeah, it's way more dangerous and scary. Absolutely. So it's definitely crazy. I will say, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. There was a point maybe 3 years ago where I dated somebody who was really big in the OnlyFans scene. Very attractive man, and he was lovely. And so I knew going into it, like, okay, this is his work. So I can't be, you know, like jealous and stuff. Like if I want him to respect my work, I need to respect his work too. So I was like kind of cool with that. But then like at one point we had the conversation and he wanted me to be his partner for his work.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
Like collaborate on content?
Yeah. And I was like,
you weren't comfortable with that?
No, I was like, look, if we're not getting married, I don't want to be out there like that. Once I'm out there like that and we don't work out, then what happens to me, you know? And it was really early on in us dating too.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting because, you know, I think if you choose to be a partner to someone in that work, like you have to be ready. Like this is their work. I have to separate it. But then it's also interesting on the flip side, they also have to respect your boundaries too.
100%. But like,
you know,
that's, those are two different things. Like respecting each other's work is just normal, fine.
Yeah.
Asking someone to do like sexually explicit material is a very different thing.
Very different.
And you are absolutely entitled to that boundary of like, I don't want to make sexually explicit material. Like I think it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
There's a comfortability factor. I think like it's also I don't know, like I feel like in a way it would kind of be weird if I had like a boyfriend and then I like started a podcast and was like, why don't you just come on my podcast?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's kind of different, but like,
but it's kind of the same.
It's kind of the same because it's like, why? You have so many other people that you can do the professional job of like recording your podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if my boyfriend was like, I don't feel comfortable being recorded or speaking publicly. It's like, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a really valid, like, I guess, boundary to have.
Yeah. Super. It was a really fascinating moment because on one hand I was like, well, that's great. Like,
it's a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
You think I'm hot?
Yeah. And two, like, wow, you want to be having sex with me and not someone else. Like, great, you know, because I'm not. I've had my experimental phase, but I'm very traditional monogamous. It's like, if you're mine, you're mine. If I'm yours, yours. Period. That's it. There's no open door for me. But you know, back then I was starting to kind of like realize that was how I was, but I was still like open-minded, which is why I was okay with him doing it.
Yeah.
But you know, there was like a compliment to it of like,
totally,
that's great. Like, I'm glad you want to just have sex with me, but also like it's, even though you're having sex with me, it's not ours. Like, we're now inviting the entire world into this.
And it's also not the sex that you have in a relationship. It's performative sex for the consumption of others. It's, babe,
you're inviting people into your most intimate part of your relationship.
Yeah. And I think there's also a sense of like, it's not even because it's like the intimate part of your relationship, but then it's also not that because you're having to change it to sort of cater to like a camera.
You're acting.
I mean? You're acting.
It's going right back to like the whole similarity between the porn world and the movie world.
Yeah.
Is that you are, it's like when I walked in on that porno before that party, it was a whole production. And it was like cut, start, stop.
Literally.
Like,
literally.
You know?
Absolutely. So yeah, I think it's like so fair as well to kind of be in those relationships. This is why I think it's so important to date as much as you can in your 20s.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I'm 33. I've never been married for a reason, which is that like there wasn't anyone I wanted to marry, but like on top of that, I really felt like I needed to make all the mistakes in my 20s. And even in my early 30s was when I realized I'm non-monogamous. So I'm like the opposite to you. I'm like, I want like a partner, but because I'm bi, I'm like, I want to be able to have sex with people that I have crushes on or like whatever else. I don't want romantic connections with other people, but that was something that I had to learn along the way.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's why it's so important to have different kinds of relationships because you kind of like, you don't know where the boundary lies until you cross it. You know? And it's when you're in those situations that you go, you know what? That's not for me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so true.
And then you go, cool. And so now I will find the things that suit me best.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So I'm glad you had that experience and that now it's like, okay, I know what I want.
It's so important. So. And that's like how you said you've never been married for a reason. I've never been remarried for a reason.
Yes.
You know, like, it's so interesting because, you know, my first marriage was very traditional monogamous and like very exclusive. And so after that, I went and explored everything. There was a time I was like, am I bi? Like, do I like girls?
Great.
And, you know, and a decade later, I was like, oh, I am traditional monogamous straight. That's just it. Like, you know, but now I've tried. Now I know. Now it's not like I'm doing this just because like this is what I grew up with. This is what like my society of my hometown told me. But now I just know that's actually just what I like. Yeah. But now I like it on my terms instead of like.
Yeah. And I think I would say like a big topic in sex therapy the past few years has been open relationships.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially like, in this city.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just moved here, so
Oh, okay.
we'll see.
And Australia too, I feel like that's a big.
Yeah, in the cities for sure.
Okay.
I think it's a big topic of conversation generally, where people are starting to go, oh, should we like explore an open relationship? Should we explore like,
Interesting.
you know, having sex with other people? And that was what originally made me curious about it, is because I'm a
Okay.
very like walk my talk girly. So like
Okay.
anything that comes up in therapy that I'm like, oh, like here's a suggestion, I've already put into practice, because I feel like personally as a therapist, I don't know, like a good example of this is if someone's presenting with pain during penetration and they have to go to a physiotherapist for a pelvic floor exam, they usually get really anxious about that. So like I went and got a pelvic floor exam so that I could like tell clients what to expect. I was like, this is how to work. This is what you can do.
Okay.
And so with non-monogamy, I was like, you know what? I'm going to explore.
Yeah.
And so I did. And what I realized is that, to your point of not getting remarried, is that I think it's so important to explore that before you commit to someone, because what I've noticed is that it's very tumultuous when you are already in an established monogamous relationship and then you go to open it up. It's just
interesting.
a mess. I'm not gonna lie. At least
Really?
I mean, I'm also seeing the people who are struggling with it.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I'm probably not seeing the people who are monogamous open up and it works great, but like even in my personal life, like I don't know people who've done that successfully.
Wow.
Like I literally don't know. The only non-monogamous people I know who do it successfully were non-monogamous from the beginning.
Okay.
So like I have a group of friends in Sydney where like everyone is coupled up, but they've been non-monogamous like for as long as they can remember, kind of thing.
Wow.
So like even outside of their marriages, for example, they were like practicing non-monogamy, and when they got together it was like already an established relationship framework.
Interesting.
Whereas like, so they were never like monogamous and then opened up, which is I think the problem for a lot of people and creates a lot of like, honestly, it's just like feels like a gateway for cheating, which sucks. I fucking hate saying that because I'm pro non-monogamy, but like it's not for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the big reason why I'm so against non-monogamy. I have seen couples where it's worked, but non-monogamy, yeah. Like from a distance I've seen, but I've also seen close up non-monogamy, and I've seen the horrors of it.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason. Like I've had like little short-term relationships that we were like, let's like be non-monogamous. And then I was like, oh, I don't like this, you know?
Not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But especially, you know, I was very close to a couple that was non-monogamous, and being so close to them and watching their inner life. And like, I'm an empath. So when they fought, because I was so close to them, I felt it. And then when they were like, okay, never mind, we're just gonna like have a threesome and smooth it over, I'd be like,
yeah, that sounds like, kind of intense.
It was, yeah. I eventually had to like cut ways with them, because I was like, this is, I can't handle this, honestly. And that was a big reason when I realized I am not non-monogamous, like, because it did feel like a lot of times it was a gateway to cheat, and you know, and it became like almost a weapon. And that really bothered me. And I was like, I can't stand by this.
Yeah, I think that's why practicing non-monogamy before you're committed, you can like iron out the kinks of like, what do I struggle with here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the first time I started hanging out with this non-monogamous crew, we literally just went to like a queer dance party. We were all dancing and everyone started kissing, and I found myself kissing all the women. And then as soon as it got to like the guys approaching me, I was like, I can't kiss their boyfriends. Like I noticed the sort of conditioning of like boys are off limits if they are in a relationship was so deeply ingrained in me. And I was like, no, like I really had to consciously be like, no, these people are, this is their like
consensual.
Yeah, it's consensual. Whereas like that was a big learning for me, and I did that while I was single.
Okay.
Like I've never practiced this in like starting a monogamous relationship. Like I've always been like, I'm going to practice it as I'm single, and then enter relationships already with like an agreed framework of like, this is what we want. And non-monogamy is different to polyamory. polyamory is where you have multiple romantic attachments, which I don't know how people do that. I'm
just like overwhelmed, and the thought of having 5, I'm like,
I'm pro whatever you like.
For sure.
If you want to be poly, you be poly. I will support you in that. Personally, it is not for me. I can't even look after myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get my period and the whole world falls apart, and I can't fucking like function, let alone worry about multiple other humans.
Oh my
Absolutely
God.
not. So I think polyamory is not for the weak. Non-monogamy for me is more that idea of like you have a primary partner that you're romantically attached with, but you perhaps have sex together or separately with other people, and it's like casual, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I also was practicing in non-monogamy, was learning to have sex that, like, I noticed I wouldn't then place meaning onto it, of like, oh, what does this mean for us? So like, are we like a thing? It's like, no, like you can have sex for pleasure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there has to be that distinction. For sure.
And so I think it was like, I don't know, it was a really nice way of expanding the ways within which I related to like sex as a pleasure practice, of like, sex sometimes can be like a deeply intimate part of your connection in like a committed relationship. It can also just be because you're a horny feral freak who's ovulating. You know what I mean? Like, it can mean so many different things, which I think is what I like about non-monogamy, but it's definitely not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, for sure. Well, and something that I noticed too, so like in that couple relationship, they really wanted me to be a part, right? And I was always like, no, I'm not going to cross this line. Like, because I had that same idea, like I'm fiercely loyal to the people I love. And so like the thought of like kissing my best friend's boyfriend was like, I can't, And what was really fascinating, and this is where I think in non-monogamy, like if you're swingers, for example, this is my thought, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say. I think that if you're swingers and you have a friend couple that you do swinging stuff with, like that's what it kind of has to be. But to be more than that, to be closer than that, I think is too dangerous, because this couple, they eventually ended up having a baby. And, I was really there for her while she was going through her pregnancy, but they were still sorting out this open close thing. And I was like, if I had even just like kissed your boyfriend, you would not want me here right now by your side while you're having this baby. Like that was such a firm line that, I was so glad I held, because, then she's pregnant and they're still dealing with this, like, is he cheating? Is she cheating? Or are they open? And she's pregnant. And like, I could have never been a friend to her during that if there'd been something that had happened there. Especially, maybe that was just because they had blurred lines, but that's why I'm curious to know.
I mean, look, this is where I just think it gets so complicated. And like, I think that's where it's so important that people have practiced their communication skills before they kind of commit, and like during, right? And if it's not productive communication and you're not actually getting your needs met, or it's leading to like just cycles of conflict, it's clearly not working. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So I guess my like thoughts on that are, I agree with the idea of like friends who swing together, but it's like this you created like a container, to be like, this is the sort of context or boundary limit. And they might still do friend things, like have barbecues and dinner parties and stuff.
But it's like, is this the person you're calling to cry to,
And look, maybe and maybe not. Like I think it really just depends on people's like relationships, their dynamics, their histories. But I do think like in my own life, I have different kinds of friendship groups. Like I have the non-monogs that I hang out with, but I also have like my old girlfriends that are just like probably the people I go talk to. Do you know what I mean? And like just things like that, I think is so important to have different kinds of supports in your life. But I understand what you mean. I think you're kind of touching on the idea of like, can you swing and have sexual intimacy with people as well as emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
And I guess the answer to that is like, I guess it just depends on people and what they're comfortable with.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's almost the same as like, you know, friends with benefits or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just kind of some people you hook up with and it's a very clear, like, we're just hooking up. Like, you're not my boyfriend. I'm not going to come and like talk to you about things. And then some people you have like a friends with benefits thing where it's like, yeah, we like sleep together, but we also hang out and we're friends.
Yeah.
And then some people you have relationships with where it's like, this is my boyfriend. This is who I talk to about things. This is my person. And I guess it's almost the same in a much more complicated way when it comes to, you know, relationships and having a partner or having multiple partners. Just a lot of communication and clear, you know, clear, this is what's okay and this is what. And if that changes, that's okay too. But, you know, there just has to be a lot of like fluidity in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and in that situation, there was not fluidity.
Yeah. And see, that I think is like the, you know, maybe the sort of challenge is like, if you can't sort of adapt, and it's causing all this tension, maybe it's just like not, I don't know, the right thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. Another question I'm curious about. So like when I was friends with that couple, they were, I was still exploring myself, right? So there would be times where I'd be seeing somebody and like the girl would try to like slide her way in, which at the time, you know, was kind of fine because it was like, well, I don't know what I want myself anyways. Do you see, like in your world, is there, you know, from someone who's non-monogamous, how do you interact with like monogamous people, or do you even see like conflict in that, or like how has that worked, like both like in just what you've observed or like for yourself or whatever?
As in like, how do I interact with them? Like,
like if somebody is monogamous,
like in my own dating life,
or in like what you've observed with couples, with like non-monogamous couples, like trying to get monogamous couples into their world, I guess. Have you seen that?
Oh, as in like non-monogamous people trying to recruit?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I've seen much of that. Okay. No.
Oh, that's good.
No, I don't think I've seen that. I think there's definitely like the idea of like the unicorn, which is like the single woman usually that like couples are drawn to and like try and sort of have a relationship with, or like a sexual relationship. But I don't think I've ever really seen non-monogamous people trying to recruit monogamous people, because if anything, non-monogamous people who are doing it well aren't interested in the chaos of monogamous people who are like kind of amateur. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's like a safety concern of like, oh, this would probably end badly because you don't really know what you're doing. And I think if anything, it's more so monogamous people that would seek out non-monogamous people to be like, oh, I kind of want to explore this.
Okay,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So have you, like, as a sex therapist, and you're welcome to answer this or not, but has your job affected your dating life at all?
I would say yes, in multiple ways. I think at first it just affected my dating life in the sense that people had a lot of assumptions about me based on my job title of sex therapist. I think they assumed I was like highly sexual and really crazy in bed, and like, I don't know, even like maybe not even interested in like a romantic relationship. Like I think they just sexualized me.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced too with your work. And have you heard of the hierarchy? Like a hierarchy, but for like whores. So it was like, so I'm very low on the hierarchy in the sense that like I get objectified for my job, but like nowhere near as much as yourself or like someone who's making adult content, stuff like that.
For sure, yeah.
The hierarchy is essentially just a hierarchy of looking at how people are like judged, or the assumptions made about you based on your job.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even the discrimination that you experience because of it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty low on the hierarchy, I think,
Okay.
because like as a therapist, it's like pretty safe.
Yeah.
But people do still make assumptions, being like, "You must be so horny," and I'm like, yes, but you shouldn't assume that of people.
Yeah.
And so the other way that it affected my dating life, so like now I don't put sex therapist, like I don't
Okay.
tell people.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, oh, I'm just like a mental health therapist or something.
Okay.
And then as I get to know them, I'll be like, oh, I actually specialize.
And
that's purely because usually men have like a pretty poor reaction to that, where they're like,
totally.
I mean, they have a poor reaction to mental health therapists.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really good screening process, actually. They'll just be like, oh, you're going to analyze me? And I'm like,
oh my God.
no, do you want me to? I'll send you an invoice. Like, the fuck? Why would I was like, sorry, but your psyche is nowhere near fascinating enough for me to like want to deep dive into it.
That's crazy.
I'm sure if I asked you a few questions, it would just be like the most boring boy shit ever.
Oh
like,
my God.
Please.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't flatter yourself with the
yeah.
boring. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
So on top of that, I guess the other way that sex therapy work has probably influenced my dating life is that it's made it. There was a good couple of years where I was jaded as fuck. Like I just was so. I feel like I'd seen so many women who had experiences of sexual trauma and violence. I had seen so many couples who were deeply distressed. I'd seen so many men like treat people poorly. And I just was like, what's the point? Like had a full existential crisis about relationships and was like, wow, what's the point? Everyone just treats each other like shit. And I was like, oh no, I can't think like that because it's not true. Like there are a lot of loving relationships out there. People are human, they make mistakes, but ultimately, ideally, take accountability.
Yeah.
And I had to remind myself that I was seeing specifically the relationships and the people that were struggling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that took me like a couple of years to kind of come out of that little like
wow.
because I was really like, ugh, like nothing good lasts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how it affected me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say the positive effects would be that I am really good at sexual communication.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's important.
So, like, I have no trouble asking for like what I want or setting boundaries or saying no to people. Like if I'm on a date and it starts to like, I don't know, get handsy and I change my mind, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go to bed.
That's good. Yeah.
So like I think it's really empowered me because I've, explored all these resources that I then share with people. But yeah, I would also say that sometimes it's a little frustrating because I feel like I'm a lot more open than other people.
Okay.
And so it's often them being like, oh, I don't know what I want. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, we can explore together. But like, it is also so fun for me when someone just turns up and is like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, ah. Great.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, going back a little, that's a really interesting point. I've heard like from just a lot of my girlfriends how hard it is sometimes for women to say, I don't want this.
100%. It's so difficult.
Especially if you change your mind as you're going, which it should always be okay, period. If you're kind of moving into it and you change your mind. And the fascinating thing is like men have no shame about throwing a temper tantrum and being like, oh, what, you don't want it? And like, how embarrassing for you. But why do we get embarrassed that we don't want it anymore? Why is it so hard for us to say, like, I don't want this anymore. So I'm glad to hear that that's not an issue you have. I think that's a really important thing that all women should feel comfortable with.
I agree. I literally was talking about this with clients yesterday in private practice, that being able to say no is one of the most important skills you have in this life.
So important.
And a lot of the time women feel like they can't say no because they've been conditioned and raised to believe that saying no creates distress in someone else, you're disappointing them, you feel guilty for it. It's so much people pleasing. And sex and pleasure should not come from a place of people pleasing.
Yeah, definitely.
And like pleasure in anything, not even just like sex, it's like what you want to do in life with your day, like how you want to position your body on the couch, how you want to, what you want to eat. Like all of these things are your choice. And if you want to change it at any point, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the time it's that inherent shaming of like women's sexuality that ultimately leads them to feel like, oh, the more I resist and say no, the more difficult I become.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be seen as difficult. And it's like, bitch, be difficult.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Put a man out.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Also, I feel like realistically, when you say no to the people that you're with, in a lot of just like day-to-day relationships, your loving partners are totally fine with that.
Yeah.
They're not going to turn around and be like, how dare you? Like, in every instance with clients where I've been like, go practice saying no with your partner, not once has their partner had an adverse reaction to that. And I've always said to them, if they have an adverse reaction, leave.
Yeah,
because that's abuse. Like,
definitely,
don't stay. Just run for the hills. Like, I think saying no is a deeply important skill to have. You know?
For sure, for sure.
Do you feel like in your job that's something that you have to practice a lot with people?
You know, it's interesting. In my job, I have no difficulty at all. Like, you know, and it's like I don't really have to deal with it that much because we have so much security at our shows, like just an insane amount of security, and we're usually like elevated or on stage. Like, you know, if when we come on stage, we go right backstage off after, which is why it always blew my mind that people had difficulty with me being a burlesque dancer. I was like, you understand, I come out on stage for 5 minutes and then I'm backstage. Like, I'm not talking to people. I'm not interacting with people. It's not the same as being a stripper. I'm not giving lap dances. So I always thought that was really interesting.
They're just jealous.
Yeah.
Because you're like hot and
I'm
cool.
free, you know.
The thing is that like when you have a cool job, people kind of hate themselves.
They do,
like, It's not my problem that you're an accountant.
It's your own problem. Like,
sorry that you have a boring life.
Exactly. It's so true. It comes from insecurity. And
100%.
That's
I'm like,
your
stop
problem.
projecting. I do think that in society, like especially in your job, women are just treated like a mirror, you know, like you exist and men just like bounce all their crap off of you and you're like, okay. And it's such a, whenever I have interactions like that where people have a reaction to me existing in the world, I'm like, wow, this literally has nothing to do with me. Like, it has everything to do with you. Take it to therapy. But do you think like, do you do do you feel like your ability to say no got easier because of the work that you do? And so like in your personal life, do you think it like empowered you to say no at all?
So, you know, interestingly enough, no. The reason being, I used to have my own company and I had 4 shows a week and I ran an after-hour spot and we had dancers at the Rainbow. So super misogynistic crowd.
Right.
And I had no problem. Like if anybody tried to touch or harass my girl, I had no problem going up to like a 6'4" man and saying like, back the fuck off. Like,
and now
no
you've got
issues.
The Muay Thai moves.
Exactly. Interestingly enough, so I have like a pretty long history of abuse that I've been through. And I have struggled a lot with saying no in my personal life. When it comes to people I love, it's a lot harder for me to say no. That's been a long learning journey. I've gotten way, way better. But like to the point where at one point I had to completely cut my family out for 6 years. And I was like, no, you know, same reason, you know, I'm divorced. I tricked him into a divorce and I ran. But it was so hard for me to say no that it got to the point where my rights and my like them looking at me as a human being was in jeopardy. And so I had to leave, or else like, you know, it's to the point where I remember looking in my husband's eyes and being like, oh, he's going to kill me one day, or I'm going to kill myself. Like,
it's so horrible.
It was really intense. And for the longest time, I was like, I'm not going to make it to 30.
Yeah.
So my 29th birthday was a big deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. It's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, babe. It really fucking is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say burlesque empowered me a lot. It helped me to feel strong. The reason it didn't necessarily help me say no is because there was a very clear like divide in my mind where I created an alter ego. So the alter ego when I was on stage was always very strong. Nobody was going to fuck with her. But then the other girl, the original girl, like hadn't built that strength. So it took me a lot of therapy and a lot of time to like meld them together. And until I was able to meld them together, then I was able to start saying no, start speaking my boundaries, start saying like, I don't like this, you know. I've gotten much better at it now.
Amazing.
But I would say the thing that helps me the most, like, even though my job made me feel strong, it didn't help me in my personal life to speak up. But what really helped me was, I think, getting a good group of girlfriends.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Our whole,
so after that, you know, that experience I had with that couple was really difficult for me.
Yeah.
And it affected me really negatively. But then, you know, I moved to Miami and then I moved back. And when I moved back, I got this job down the street, this show that I perform at called Main Row. And we have a team of aerialists. Only team of aerialists in LA. There's no other venue that has as many rig points as we do, that has as successful of a show. And there's maybe like 7 to 10 of us. And they're all my best friends, all like, like we were laughing at rehearsal the other day because we all have abs. Like we're all just super fit, but it's because this is our life. Like we train, we rehearse, you know, we're synced up. So like, and our schedule's weird. So it's like hard to have friends outside of it. But for us, it works because like, who else is going to hot tub on a Tuesday afternoon? You know, like that's like our time because it's our schedule. But being friends with them was a huge turning point for me because they all genuinely cared about me. They all genuinely loved me. They all supported me saying no. You know, they supported, like if I pulled back, they would say, are you okay?
Yes.
What's going on?
Yes.
You know, and if I voiced how I felt, they say, okay, I understand. We can adjust. And I was like, wow, I've never had that.
Wow.
Before at all in and maybe like in a couple like relationships here and there, but to have like and I traveled so much, so I didn't really have very deep relationships. I was always on my own. But having a core team, that's another reason why I'm staying here another year, because having like even just 5 of those girls that I was so close to who really supported me in saying no and supported me in having different opinions from them and just allowed me to give me a space to be myself and to stand strong in that. Life-changing.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, like, it was really
so
lovely.
Beautiful to hear that, you know, healing came from your friendships with women. And being like loved in an unconditional way of like, you didn't, you know, that when you had to pull back, they would check in, they'd be like, no problem. Like it was so accommodating, as it should be. You know, it shouldn't be conditional or transactional. And I always tell people, like, in the context where hurt happened, healing can happen. Right. So like if you are hurt in an attachment, even if it's like romantic, you can often heal in an attachment, but it doesn't always have to be romantic. It could be like a friendship, a familial relationship, like anything really. Like I think that's why people often get so bonded to like their pets, is that they have like really healing qualities to them as well. And so I think that's just such a beautiful example of like creating that space of like safety and reassurance,
for sure,
and feeling like you can say no to things and have it finally like respected and heard and validated. Like such an important experience to have.
For the longest time too, I was like, man, like, you know, my relationship with my dad is great now, but like growing up it wasn't, and I wasn't allowed to say no. Like, and then in my marriage, I wasn't allowed to say no. And I was put in really scary positions too. It wasn't just like, oh, no, whatever. It was like very scary, where it felt life and death, you know? So, you know, then like after my divorce, it was like I kept going for these bad situations with men. And I was like, is this it? Like I remember always feeling like I related a lot to Jenny from Forrest Gump and being like, man, like I'm just going to die alone, you know? But really, you know, becoming friends with them was what changed my relationship with men too. And now, like, I have no problem in my relationship now saying like, hey, I don't like this. Like, I'm not comfortable with this. Hey, don't treat me like that, you know? without being like aggressive about it either.
Totally.
Just voicing my boundary.
It's just being assertive.
Yeah.
Like, it's so simple. But
it's so simple.
I do think that, like, in our society, when a woman's assertive, she's called bitch. And when a man's assertive, he's called leader. You know, like, there's so many double standards to it. But one of my favorite things is when someone thinks I'm a bitch. I'm like, oh, if you think I'm a bitch, just you wait till you get to know me. I'm actually a full-blown, you know, like, I just love being called a bitch, actually. So I think it's like, I'm never afraid if someone's like, oh, you're kind of a bitch. I'm like, oh, so you don't like that I'm assertive. Like, that's the problem you have with me.
Yeah, because it makes them feel uncomfortable.
And also because you can't get what you want by walking all over me.
It's
and that annoys
very
you.
True.
You know, and it's like, okay, throw your little temper tantrum. Like, I'm just going to sit here with my fucking rock solid boundaries. Like, have fun. You know?
They're like, fine, go ahead and leave.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Bye.
You know? And that's the beautiful thing too, when you do have a support system of whatever kind and you realize your cup is full, it's easier to say no. And even learning self-love and loving yourself and having your cup be filled by yourself. Yeah. You know, I noticed when I didn't have self-love and I was depleted, it was like, well, wherever I can get love, you know.
Totally.
But that's why, like, and I used to hate when people say that, like, you need to learn to love yourself. And it is harder for some people who come from abuse, who have been, you know, had all their love pulled from them. Yeah. You know, and that's why I get mad, because a lot of people in sex work come from like a lot of trauma. Yeah. And that's why I hate all these stigmas that are put on them, because it's like, well, you think talking to them like that is going to help them? First of all, if that's what they want to do, let them do it. It's their life. Yeah. But second of all, why are you talking to them like that? Totally. You know, it's like, you don't know what they've been through.
Absolutely. And I do think that, like, yes, it's important to love yourself, but I think you also learn to love yourself by being loved by others.
That's
and so
true.
when you aren't, when you're in abusive situations, you are learning that, like, I'm not worthy, or this is conditional, or actually, like, I kind of, for my own safety, have to be a certain way. Yeah. And I just think that when like your friendship circle of aerialists that you described is a perfect example of them, like, loving you in a certain way, that you went, yeah, like, I am worthy of this kind of love.
Yeah, definitely.
And, like, you know, it gave you the confidence to sort of even relate to yourself in a different way.
Yeah,
you know,
totally. And that's the hard thing, and that's where, like, I think it is, you know, when people tell you over and over you have to love yourself, if you've never been loved, it is really hard. Yeah, you don't know what that looks like. How can you even love yourself if you've never even seen love? Yeah, 100%. So it is, you know, and that's where it's like, you can't put all the blame and pressure on the person. You know, it took me having that team, you know, and there were a couple other relationships before that showed me love as well, but that was the big turning point. You know, why have one when you can have five? Just kidding.
Like, no, I agree.
We were talking about polyamory before, and I was like,
it's like, as a non-monogamous person, that really resonates. You're like, babe, the more the merrier. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. I don't know about having like 5 boyfriends and girlfriends though.
No, me too. Yeah. Me too. That's fair.
But you know, it does make a difference having that. Wonderful. Having those people there that love you, you know, and that's not really in our control. And that's just kind of like a lifelong journey. But I think a lot of that too is, you know, you can't force love to come into your life, but you can put yourself in healthier situations where love is more likely to come to you.
Absolutely.
Like, before, when I was with all my other friends and, you know, I was living here, I was putting myself in situations and being in environments where, like, they could easily pull from me and take advantage of me. Whereas choosing to detach from everyone and move to Miami was a really strong move for me to, like, isolate and just get quiet with myself and be like, do I want this? Like, are these things making me happy? Yeah. Do I feel good about this? That when I came back, I moved to the other side of town, because I was more like on the Santa Monica side, and now I'm in the Hollywood side. And I put myself in different environments, like, and my team of aerialists, we all joke that we have the same mental health issues.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why we are the way we are. We all have anxiety really badly. So we obsessively work out. Like, we go to the gym, we go to rehearsal, we go do backflips. And like, when we train flips, it's not like we're doing like a flip here and there. We will do like 10, 80 flips and just like grind it out, and we'll all do it together. We're insane.
That's wild.
We all have matching scars from like our aerial choreography. Like, And so we joke, like, we're all kind of unhealthy.
Yeah.
But we found a way to cope with it in our best way possible, to where we're sane people. Because we all say, if we didn't do aerial, I don't know how to be a menace to society, you know? But everyone thinks that we're like great, peaceful, calm, happy people. But it's only because we have a system.
Because you have the place, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit insane.
It does sound a little bit insane. I'm not gonna lie.
It really is.
It's a lot of backflips, babe.
It's crazy.
But then again, I do Muay Thai and I get punched in the head as a hobby.
It's a coping mechanism, you know? Like,
well, it's definitely been so cathartic for me to have a hobby where I get to beat up men.
Yeah, for sure.
I am loving it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's a great thing. Like, and it's a healthy way to do it.
It is. It's consensual.
Yeah.
But it's also like great because you're in your body, you're learning, like you're tuning to your body, you're learning about your body. Like,
yeah.
I think it's just such a fun thing to do. But you're right. Like, I'm not judging the aerialist circus life, because I'm also just literally fucking sparring people.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably just as insane.
Yeah. Well, and it's a beautiful thing though, because also, like, why is it insane? Like,
totally, I love it.
Yeah. And like, think about the women who don't have an outlet. Like, that's what really, you know, like, you know, before aerial, well, no, I guess aerial was first, but like pole was my thing, and I would have like bruises all down my legs, you know, but like, it helped me.
Yeah.
And again, like, you know, the women who aren't allowed to express themselves, who aren't allowed to go learn how to fight because it's too masculine, like, you know, we're really lucky to be able to find ourselves and have outlets for ourselves instead of being trapped, you know. And like, if you choose to be a housewife, great. But even I think housewives need to have something outside of just their kids that's for them, you know, like, because you see those moms who make their kids their entire world, and then their kids go to college and they're like,
who am I?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need something grounding for yourself, you know, to kind of like feed into yourself and like to just stay grounded as a human so that you can give more.
Absolutely.
You know,
I agree. I think having spaces for your own sense of like, even if it's just like mindfulness practice or like a hobby, is deeply important to like, centering into yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Love.
Well, great. I'm pretty sure that's been like a full hour.
Surely.
It feels like it. It must have been over.
Yeah, surely.
But
yeah, I think it was more like 2 hours.
I kind of was like, we must be like at least at an hour and a half.
Definitely.
But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode.